welcome to this month's free AI webinar. And this month, I'm going to explain to you all about custom GPTs. You may have heard about them, but not really understood what they can do or the benefits of them. And so explain what they are, what they can do, how they can help, more importantly, but then take you through the steps of how to create one. Once it is very simple. It sounds much more complicated than it is. I'll take you through those steps and guide you. Now, this is a bold statement. Reclaim your time. Of course, you're not going to reclaim all of your time with custom GPTs. I'm not here for empty promises, but they can help you, particularly if you're using something like ChatGPT to complete the same task over and over. Just for example, you're getting it to generate social media posts or the draft of social media posts for you, or a certain monthly report or something of that nature, strategies or some sort of document or content you do on a regular basis, and you end up just copying and pasting the same prompt in it over and over again. And there's a way to shortcut that and make it so much easier. They're trained to write in your unique voice. And that's been one of the hardest things, I think, with AI, is learning how to make it do that and avoiding all that cheesy language that it comes up with. I'm preparing a LinkedIn local presentation for next week, and that's all about that. I call it AI banality. And we're talking about unleash, unlock, amplify, all of those words, those cheesy words that AI seems to stuff in everywhere. And it doesn't sound like you anyway. You wouldn't write like that. And so this is how you can train the AI to sound like you as well. And it saves you time. Not only can it save you time in having to redo the same prompt over and over again, it means that you can keep training it so it becomes even more precise as well. You still always need to edit it and fact check and proofread it, of course, but it's just going to save you time. It would take you doing it yourself, firstly, and then having to go over and over again with that. Now, why did custom GPTs matter? Because they veer away from that generic content, as I said, and it can maintain a really consistent tone in your work, because sometimes, depending on how they're training these LLMs, like the models behind something like ChatGPT, it can actually vary and change in its quality as well. But with a custom GPT, it remains consistent. By doing that, it means that you can train it according to your own business's brand or your own personal brand as well, more importantly, so that it is consistent and sounds authentic. And so you could still get assistance by using AI, but you don't want it to not sound human and not sound like you. So here's a way that can help to shortcut. There is 3 key steps when you're building a custom GPT. You need to plan and prepare before you go into it, build and train, and then test and tweak. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, what I think I should do is show you what one looks like and what it can actually do. So if we move over now to ChatGPT, the other side here. Now, these are my GPTs here, but there's also this tab here called Explore GPTs. And so if you go in here, these are ones that have been created by other people that are publicly available. The GPT will perform a specific task on which it is trained. So you can see here, there's one to help with organizing your travel. There's other things here for image generation or enhancing research and things like that. They're more broad, publicly available ones. But what we're going to do is create our own. You can see in here, I've created a few. I've got some that I've just been playing with, but I have here a publicist, I call it. And so every week that I have a segment on Ticker, it's a streaming news service. And so every week I talk about 2 news stories on there. So I read and research the news stories myself to find the ones that'll be most newsworthy. And then I read them, I copy and paste them into my AI publicist, and then it pulls out specific talking points from me from that so I can prepare for the interview. I can then just have them with me and read over them multiple times before I do the interview, feel confident without feeling like I have to memorize all of that whole news article, which is really helpful. I used to do it myself, and now because I've trained it in a way to do that, it just finds these things in a matter of seconds, and then I've got the talking points. But the most important thing is I've read the material, so I know the material. And it gives you prompts Another one I've done is this key message generator. So let me get to that one. This one is made from my book, Strategic Social Media Management Theory and Practice. It's a mouthful. And in that, I've got a particular way to write key messages in, say, a social media strategy. And so what I've done is I've taken that section of the book and trained it and given it examples and instructions of what it should look like and what the structure would be. And then I've made two options where you can either paste the link of your website in, and it will then generate the key messages just by scanning through your website, or it will prompt you for the information to be able to create those. Just out of interest, would anyone like me to show you this in action with your website? So does anyone want to pop their website in the chat, and then I will put it in and show you how this custom GPT works in terms of key messaging. Natural Surrender. Let me just find. This is the website here with the lovely Megan, who's online today. So there's this. So let's go back now to ChatGPT, to this key message generator. I'll post this in, and I haven't used this in a little while, so hopefully it works still well. And then I'll put the link in there. And so now it's searching, and it's come up with those, which is pretty good. Like it's really just rehashing, but it's funny. It's not, I need to train it better because it's not in the structure. So I'm just going to say, what happened to the key messaging structure? And then hopefully it'll go, oh, sorry, here we go. And it's because I know that. So I think you have to keep training it and using it. The more you use it, as I said, I haven't used this in a while. So my structure is using the first key message is about brand. So Natural Surrender is your trusted guide. So it explains what the brand is. Second is the problem and solution. And so it can be overwhelming to find credible and aligned support. Natural Surrender simplifies this by curating a directory. And then call to action, join the Natural Surrender community today. But you can see how it's done it in just a few seconds by training it properly. So I'll do the Brilliant Foundation quickly, and then we'll move on because we'll be here all day doing key messages. Okay. So let me pop this one. Okay, so how did that one go? Let's have a look. So again, please use the structure. So it's a two-step. Here we go. Here's the structure. And so if you were trying to come up with these on your own, again, it would take quite a while. So good. Okay, let's move on because we will get stuck on key messages. So if we move back to ChatGPT, so you can see here, that's what they can do. Then you've got the public ones. But then if we go back to the main area and explore GPTs, you can then create them as well. In this session, I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you need to do, though, before you even begin, is to work out what do you want this thing to do? What is it for? And what is its purpose? You can't give it too many things to do. It's best to focus on one and then train it. And you can see there, because I haven't used that one for a while, I have to keep reminding it. And you'll see later why it's really important to keep monitoring and making sure that your custom GPT is regularly trained. So decide on the purpose and then gather the content. With a custom GPT, it will give you the result based on the examples that you give to it. It's like you're training a staff member, if you think about it. You need to give them very clear, specific instructions, and then you need to give them examples of what you want the output to look like. And so that's what you're doing there. So you're gathering examples of your work, and you're defining the objectives of what you want it to do, how it will look, the structure, the tone, all of those things. And in my 3-step process of creating content using AI, I always come back to this because AI is there to help you to do the task, but not completely replace the task. And so this is where we're here at this preparation stage. And so that's really important. You'll still need to go, of course, through the content drafting stage. This sort of back and forth, you will need to do a little bit, but generally the more information you give it to train on, this will become much more efficient. So you won't have to keep going back and forth to get what you want, but you still need to do this post-production phase of the fact checking and the editing just to put your final flavor on it and then get working it into the final product. While custom GPTs help save you time in this part, you still need to do that part. That's the human in the loop. That's still necessary. All right, so let's go in and start to build one. First of all, we'll go back to ChatGPT, and then we'll start a GPT and input instructions. Here's one I prepared earlier, but we'll go through that in just a second. We'll go through the first stages so you know where it is. So in ChatGPT, in the GPTs section, and you can go create. And you can see here, it takes you into this interface here, where first of all, it's got create, where you could just put in your instructions, or you've got this configure part. This thing here allows you to make an image of what you want it to be, and it'll generate it based on the information that you give it. So for mine, I'm going to create a custom GPT that will generate LinkedIn posts that sound like me. So what I'm going to call it is Dr. Karen's LinkedIn post creator. Very creative. So let me just grab that and pop that in here. And then based on that, it will ask if you want to upload a photo or use DALL-E to create an image. Let's use DALL-E. Let's see what it's got. It just takes a few seconds to generate the image. There we go. Look, that that will do for the moment. I don't know about you, but when I'm generating images on AI, I go into a deep hole and just keep playing, and then it's not going to be much fun for you. So I'm just going to leave Dr. Karen with blonde hair there, and we'll keep moving. And so the description is, it will create, of course, LinkedIn posts in the voice of Dr. Karen Sutherland. Okay, so in here now, the instructions. I'm going to go back now and show you what these involve. So I've just got them here. Now, you can see there's a lot to it, because you need to be, as I said, very specific with exactly what you want it to do. The more specific you are, the better the result you will get the first time that you ask it to do anything. So I've got here the role and the purpose, explaining that it's a LinkedIn expert and it's tasked with generating engaging posts that mirror my style. The goal is to produce posts that feel authentic, insightful, and professional. The tone and the style guide, of course, showing how you want it to be written in terms of the tone. So for me, friendly, professional, engaging, and personable, with valuable insights and clear language. Then I've got the structure of the post. I want a strong hook, some attention-grabbing statement at the start, a little bit of personal insight in the body, and then a good value proposition, like a key takeaway that people can take from their post, and then a call to action. What do I want them to do at the end? Then formatting and details. I want short paragraphs. I want bullet points. Whatever it is you want it to do, I put that in. And then training data. So I'll show you in a second. I've collated a list. I've done screenshots of my best performing posts over the last few months and put them in. I use best performing posts because I want to do more of those. I wouldn't just put any posts. I want the ones that perform well. So then I can hopefully do that again with this. Then examples, example topic. And I've given a few examples of what it could be, and then value and call to action. And then quality check. So always review the generated posts for clarity, consistency, etc. But again, I will do that as well as the human in the loop. What I'm going to do now is copy these instructions and then go back to ChatGPT and paste them in. And so you can see now they're all in there. And as I said, the clearer and the more descriptive the instructions, the better. And then conversation starters. So this is where you're prompted to write what you want it to do. So I'll just say, what should I post on LinkedIn today? I don't know. I just made that up. You can do multiple. And then now I also want to show you that I have This is the document that I created with these posts. I just went to LinkedIn and I just did screenshots and put it into a PDF, put it into a Word doc, and then did a PDF. So these are just the ones. I think I've got maybe 10 or something in there of the ones that went well. So just screenshots because it can read these images. So I won't go through all of them, but there you go. You get the idea, just to give it that training data. And so now I'll upload that file. Here we go. Top performing LinkedIn posts. You can see it's got all those elements. It's got a very bad image, which I will change, and you can change it once it's done. The name of what it is, the description, the detailed instructions, prompt, and then some training data on there as well. And let's go create. Now for this one, I only want me to have this. In here, you can either put it in the store. So if you remember, I went to that section first where it had all those publicly available ones. You can put it in there if you're happy for other people to use it, or you can create it so with a link, so then anyone you give the link to could use it too. But because it's just for me and it's really got my personal LinkedIn on it, I only want it for me. So we'll just go, and then it's published. We'll go to view. Let's test it out. So why don't I say, what should I post on LinkedIn today? Write me a post promoting a webinar on how to develop a custom GPT. So of course I would give it more in terms of detail, but we'll just test it out and see what comes back. And I'm pretty happy with that. To edit it, of course, but it's got the hook that I asked for. It leads in, then it's got the bullet points that I like, who it's for, and then save your spot, and then the link. I would change some of this because it's still very AI generic, and I don't use these long sort of hyphens either, so I would change that. But as the first draft, it saved me time having to do it myself. So shall we try another one? Next week I'm speaking at LinkedIn Local, so write me a post promoting my talk at LinkedIn Local Sunshine Coast. Spelling, of course, is not good right now, or punctuation, about avoiding AI banality. So that's pretty cool too. AI is everywhere. I would get rid of that robot emoji. It's so bland, boring, and banal content it creates. It's good, and it does sound like my work, although I would still tweak it. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So we've inputted instructions and we've started to build and train it. And now when I go to, say if I go to just ChatGPT in general, now my GPT is here. So I can just click on it and go into it, which is really helpful. And so we've generated a sample, reviewed the output. And that's the thing, if you're not happy with the output, you can go back in and change it. Like I could go in now and say, do not use these terms, do not use these long hyphens, and tell it not to do that. And it will include that in the instructions, because you can go in and edit and keep updating the instructions as you need to. As you saw with that first one, because I hadn't played with that for a long time, it almost forgot what it needed to do. So you need to keep going regularly. And if you're using it regularly, it will be so much better and it'll be helpful to you anyway. Repeat that process. So if you're using it all the time, make sure that it's still aligning, and check that it's aligning with your brand and what you want it to do. And if not, go back in and fix it in the instructions. Update the training data, because it's only will remember the data that you've given it. So if you're doing something new in that respect, keep updating it. You can add more files as well. So keep doing that. That really helps. monitor how your audience is reacting to that content. So just say I posted that and someone said, oh my God, it looks so bad. I would need to actually go in and fix that and adjust it, and do this regularly in terms of reviewing what it's doing, because it can be super helpful, but it's also easy to fall into a rut as well because it's so helpful, but you still need to keep updating and refining to make it better. But it's still going to save you so much more time than having to do it yourself. There's so many different ways you could use it as well. So I know there are people who work in agencies, so in advertising or communication, PR, and they have one for each of their clients. And so they've trained it on their client's brand voice, and then now it's easy to generate content like that. Other people have created little audience personas for different segments of their audience, so that when they give it things, it can analyze it from the perspective of that persona, or it can write from that persona. So then it's more likely to connect with their audience. And another way is creating it like I did with that one for a specific social media platform, where it creates content based on the specifications of that platform and the brand. So there's really so many different ways you can use it. There was one I was building for a local council, and they were using it to help generate strategic plans for volunteers who were given grants. It would take them through the steps of the information that it needed and then generate sections of those sorts of reports, because it was very standardized. There are so many different ways that you can use it. If you need any assistance with your AI, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. Connect with me on LinkedIn, now that you'll see some amazing posts coming out. And you can always book in a free chat with me for a 30-minute chat to just discuss any AI related things that you wanted to know about. And of course, my new book is out as well. And I'm developing an online community. It is on Facebook around the use of AI for strategic communication. And we all use it in our organizations, our businesses. So it's not just people who are strategic communicators, but people who are using it for that purpose as well. Please feel free to join. It's a free group. And in that, I do a news update every week and add in articles and things. You get access to this webinar every month. It's easy to register that way. And I also do a workshop every month, and you get a discount on that. I think it's like between 10 and 25% discount on my workshops as well by joining that. And speaking of, here's the next one. So I'm going to do a workshop. It's going to be really fun on using AI to help you to generate Instagram and Facebook reels, because reels are just such amazing content and they perform so well, but sometimes we get stuck on how to actually do it. So I'll show you ways to use AI to really help you with the whole process, from coming up with ideas to creating them using Canva. We'll use a few tools to do that. So that's there as well. And I've promoted that in the group, and I'll share more about that on social media too. Our next AI webinar is on 29th of April, and it's showing you how to humanize AI generated content. A good way is to train it, of course, on your own voice, but there are other ways as well. And so I'll take you through the steps on how to do that. The next steps really is just pick a task. If you wanted to have a play, pick a task to find out something that you do regularly that's quite repetitive in terms of content you need to create, and then use that to create a custom GPT. It's not as difficult as you would think. It's really about just giving it instructions and giving it training data, and then it just lives there. And you need to update it, of course, but yeah, saves so much time in the long run. Thank you for joining, and hopefully I'll see you next month or in one of the workshops or even in our Facebook group. Thank you.